Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am McAlphany. So let's begin here. We have some XRP news, XLM. There's chapters if you want to jump around. We'll talk a little bit about gold, the US dollar, or we're going to do a lot. All of it is good. Let's start here with an article on beincrypto.com. And the title goes as such. Ripple CEO expects conclusion to SEC court case early next year. Now, we've heard this many times, but they're reaffirming it, letting everyone know, hey, look, this is where we expect it to be over. We're not just telling you once, we're solidifying that time period. So anybody that had to worry and was guessing when this is going to be over, well, you have Ripple saying it. Let's go by what they're saying. Okay, we know the judge made a push to end it, to try to force it to be over by the end of this year. However, you see what the SEC does. They drag everything out. They have their ways. They have their technicality. So let's just go by what Ripple's saying. They're saying early next year. OK, so we don't need to dig too deep into that article here. So let's jump into this next article on newsbtc.com. And it's titled, "This expert suggests how Ripple price will trend amid expansion in Europe." Now, the European expansion of XRP, of Ripple, is very, very important. In fact, there's so many connections. I hate to say it, but there's so many connections between Europe and the BRICS nations. And just keep an eye on the dynamic between the certain points in Europe, I'll say, right? And the BRICS nations, because some of those need what the BRICS nations are offering, whether it's oil or minerals. There's going to have to be a compromise or a stalemate or something. That's why a lot of measures are being taken now to keep some of those European nations from going against the sanctions, because the sanctions are literally a stranglehold on certain European nations, not necessarily the BRICS nations, or rather, the one they have a problem with. So I look for some kind of fracturing in the system or rebellion to happen. And it's been happening. You see protests all over the place in Europe. You see that happening. You see the banking systems, having a lot of different issues, not just in Europe, but around the world. So Europe is going to be very, very important because so much value is going to be moving through Europe based on the new systems. The only way to go against the legacy system, the only way to skirt around it, is to use the new systems. And who is deep in Europe? XRP, XLM, Algorand, Quant, XDC now, right? Those are the ones that I know personally that are deep in Europe and have corridors built there. We have good business relationships there. So a lot of value will flow, theoretically speaking. Of course, there's no guarantees. This is not financial advice, but a lot of value will flow out of Europe because of that. I don't know if I was eloquent in saying that, into the distributed ledger technologies, the bank coins. Right? Theoretically speaking. It says the long-standing legal battle between Ripple and the SEC in the US has not stopped the firm from advancing into other markets. For example, Ripple announced its first on-demand liquidity partners, ODL, in France and Sweden via press release. Ripple continues its expansion into European markets to provide online payment services leveraging its XRP token. That's also important. Thank you, whoever wrote this article. Thank you, because so many people try to write off that Ripple, that XRP is not crucial, or not crucial, but integral to the XRPL, which is absolutely ridiculous. I know, we read the documents ourselves, but fudders use that against other individuals who may not know that. So to put that inside this article, I think is very, very good. It says, in the press release, Ripple announced that it would join forces with Lehman Way, an online marketplace payment provider based in Paris. Ripple revealed that Lehman Way would utilize RippleNet on-demand liquidity for crypto. Now, keep in mind, with on-demand liquidity, everyone who participates in the future will need to hold XRP in order to use it. When you have either over 400 or 500 financial institutions at this point signed up to use the XRPL, somewhere around there, don't quote me on that number, but it's hundreds upon hundreds of financial institutions, okay? When you have all of them holding, and I believe a large allotment of XRP, what does it do to that price? Think about that for a moment. Go read the white papers on Ripple.com. And you don't even have to read the white papers. They have blog posts on their website that tell you of the necessity to hold XRP in order to utilize the XRPL. You can read it yourself. What does it do to that price when you have a myriad, hundreds of banks holding XRP? What does it do to that price? Not only that, XRP functions at a higher price. We already know that, but I like to reiterate that because repetition is the mother of learning, and we have a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new people from crypto are here. So then you have that. Then also, what does it do to that price when you have interbank payments moving through XRP? Now, not only that, see, later on in this video, like I said, we have chapters. We're going to talk about debt. Remember, I've been talking about debt since the beginning of this year, right? I said that there is a debt crisis. I said that the global debt is getting out of control and is going to be detrimental to society, correct? But also, because of that world-crushing debt, that unpayable debt, they will need to restructure the systems. When they do that, they will need to tokenize the debt on the DLTs to track everything and make it flow and cut certain costs and to make transactions very quickly for the buying and selling of debt. That will flow through the bank coins, XRP, XLM, Algorand. And we have a few articles all showing you already what's happening with debt. The debt is beginning to break the countries. But we'll get to that later. Everything we've been saying, well, I won't say everything. My apologies. So many things we have been saying have come to pass on the channel because we use logic, because we utilize cause and effect. Now, let's continue on here. I'm getting a little bit excited, feeling real good. This is from U.Today. Here are our next key dates in Ripple SEC lawsuit, BTC. Okay, we don't care about Bitcoin right now, but that's not taking any shots at Bitcoin. I do believe people are going to make a good amount of money with Bitcoin. I've said that many times. All right. I don't believe its time is over just yet, although I do believe it will be surpassed. It's my humble opinion. But let's skip that because this is about XRP. Ripple expands on-demand liquidity to France and Sweden. Crypto digest by U.Today. Okay. So this is pretty similar to what we already just read from Ripple, from Ripple itself. Okay, so here are the key dates. There you go. It says early in September, James K. Fallon, a defense lawyer who is closely related to the Ripple SEC lawsuit, penned a tweet with a scheduling update regarding motions for summary judgment. So let's scroll down and see if they just give us a list of the dates. Do you give it to us? Where is it? Come on now. Okay, so it says Judge Torres is ruling on the SEC objections regarding the Hinman documents that would be due October 13th. On October 18th, parties are expected to file all materials relating to oppositions to summary judgment under seal. On October the 20th, the parties will confer to identify redactions sought by each side in the opposition briefs. October 24th remains a key date as parties are expected to file publicly redacted versions of the opposition briefs. So at that time, I guess we're going to get a lot of news and people are going to be ripping those documents apart and we're going to see what's going on with those. So there you have some key dates. So let's move on to another article here. Ripple CTO refuses to jump Hoskinson. Okay, so now there was one part of this I wanted to highlight. So, there's been a lot of back and forth. Charles Hoskinson actually spoke positively about XRP recently. We covered that in the video. I don't know if anything else was said, but apparently, who Hoskinson, who has a warrior mentality. He wants to fight everybody. But anyway, apparently there was some back and forth between Hoskinson and members of the XRP community, which results may vary if you do that. Because the XRP community, they're filled with warriors as well. And they want to fight. So these two fighters, or I suppose, these two argumentative entities have been going back and forth in not a very positive way. I just laugh because Hoskinson is going to come at you. He goes at everybody. That's just the way it goes. He goes at H-bar, like, as brilliant as H-bar is, he never fails to fire shots at H-bar, all right? Anyway, so given all this back and forth, right? David Schwartz is like, hey, listen, we disagree on things, sure. But when it comes to moving crypto forward, we're in agreement and we are in solidarity. We're going to move forward. See, and that's what I'm talking about. See, David Schwartz and Hoskinson, they understand on a greater level where they're not tribalist. They understand that to fight, the bigger fight, the greater fight is against the legacy system. And if we want to win, we have to band together. We can't be attacking each other and and at the same time being attacked by the legacy system. That is foolish. But I understand it like this. Only a few people will understand it. That's a winner's mentality, seeing the bigger fight. Listen, we can hash it out later. We can argue later. But right now, we have to stand side by side because there's a bigger enemy at hand. So let's go at them first and let's win this battle, because if we don't win that battle, it's over for all of us. So I like that. I understood that. I respect that statement and move from David Schwartz. It says, however, David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, has refused to get into this online spat, as he should. He mentioned that there are a lot of things that he could talk about that happened with Charles Hoskinson over the last few days. He stated that this situation makes him very sad because Hoskinson said he's no longer going to be engaging with XRP community. Yeah, and that's disappointing because there's so many brilliant ideas, brilliant things that Hoskinson brings to the table. And you never want to close the door where there could be work. There could be some partnerships, some work done together in the future. But people are closing that door. Hopefully that same door is not closed for the actual businesses involved. But let's continue on here. It says, there are many big and important things that Schwartz and Hoskinson disagree on, Ripple CTO added. Meanwhile, they stand on the same side when these big and important things are in concern. So there you have it. In the grand scheme of things, they are united. And that's how you're supposed to be. Let's fight as one. I have said that for a long time, that the tribalism in the clans and the clan mentality should be dropped, right? This group think, so to speak, should be dropped. And crypto should band together and fight against regulators like the SEC, legacy system entities that seek to take them down. You're stronger together than you are apart. So let's cover this article here by Volante Technologies. They were at Sibos with Quant, right? And Volante Technologies, which is a Ripple partner, okay? They're trying to make deals at Sibos. I told you. And hey, Volante, do a good job because that's going to bring us a lot of money. Right? Join us today at Sibos between 2 to 4 p.m. Stand hashtag E25 to discuss how Volante's, now this is the important part, to discuss how Volante's ISO 20022 service can help at AWS cloud customers rapidly adopt and reap benefits of the new ISO 20022 messaging format. So they're trying to scoop up clients. I told you that's what all these panels are about. That's what Meridian is about, bringing in new clients. You think they're doing Meridian for fun or just to strut and peacock? No, they're doing that to bring in new clients. There's a lot of big business people there, big money individuals, banks, governments. You heard what Gilbert Verdian said. I told you in the last video. This is about possibly landing more deals, and Volante is taking advantage of the situation. Good. Be hungry. Help them understand the benefits that we bring, that using XRP brings. It says hashtag Sibos 2022, hashtag banking, hashtag payments. The banking is what matters to me. And they're there to get those AWS customers. Do a good job, Volante. I'm very happy to hear that. Now, let's move on here. A little bit of XLM news. I knew it. And this is nothing. We're going to get more news. It's starting to heat up. Yes. Look at this. So you already know about the smart contracts. Stellar smart contracts. That's going to bring in a lot of money. More than I think most people know. Because what did the Bank of International Settlements say that they want the most? They want smart contracts. They want programmability, which means trillions of dollars for us if they were to utilize XLM to any capacity. We already know they have a good relationship with Stellar Foundation. And that means the potentiality for trillions of dollars to flow through Stellar for a myriad of reasons. Interbank payments, cross-border payments, B2B, C2C, B2C. That was huge. But this is just as big. So let's jump into it here. We have a tweet from Caroline D. Pham. What did Caroline D. Pham say? Thanks. Well, before we say that, who is Caroline D. Pham? The head of the CFTC. We're about to win. We're about to win. Whew. I told you we were coming close. But I mean, this is not a celebration. I don't do that. I'm just a little excited. That's all. Says she's thanking us. Thanks at Stellar.org, at Danelle Dixon. I told you, there's so many people from Stellar. So many people from Stellar at that event, Meridian. But she thanked Danelle Dixon. I told you Danelle Dixon closes the big deals. I know winners when I see them. Brad Garlinghouse, winner. Danelle Dixon, winner. They close the deals. Stacey Wharton, winner. I told you, I know these things. I've been around a long time. I know. I'm looking quite youthful. But I've been around a long time. I know who's a winner, who's a deal closer. Thanks at Stellar.org, at Danelle Dixon, Candace and Adam for the opportunity to share my learnings from international engagement on crypto assets. Regulators should take a common sense approach. That's a shot at the SEC. She didn't say regulators are taking a common sense approach. Who's the only regulator that's super active right now in the United States? That's the SEC, who is currently engaged in insanity. So that's a shot at the SEC. And that also is letting anybody who's reading this, which, by the way, all the other regulators are going to read this because they want to know what the CFTC, their partner, is doing or saying or thinking. And they're going to say, yeah, SEC is not operating with common sense. We should take a common sense approach. And they're letting people know that if the CFTC is in charge, that they would take a common sense approach. And I believe they're going to step in. I believe the CFTC is going to take over, at least when it comes to the bank coins, XRP, XLM. They should be governed by the CFTC. Algorand, HBAR, Cello, XDC, the bank coins, should be governed. And this is a huge deal. We're going to learn more, much, much more. There's going to be more information released. This is bigger than people know. Now, let's continue on here. So then we also have more Stellar news. Stellar at Meridian announced at Meridian at Novati Payments fiat-backed stablecoins AUDD to go live on Stellar November 1st. The more stablecoins, the better. We want all of those. Bring them all in. We want as much use and we want as much congestion as possible on Stellar. Congestion means surge pricing. Go to Stellar.org and look up surge pricing. That's number one. There's no cap on it. There's no cap on it. Okay? Read the documents for yourself. That's number one. Number two, every account. And we want all of these billions of people using Stellar. Every account must hold a minimum of lumens. How many lumens are there? You think they're going to hold 1 lumen each? Come on now. No, they're not. And that's not considering those who will use Stellar in a closed ecosystem, taking huge allotments of Stellar and keeping it all to themselves. Yes, be selfish. Be selfish, big money individuals. Have closed ecosystems for your privacy and take large allotments of Stellar out of the circulating supply. What does it do to that price? Then recently we covered another article or document where they were talking about Stellar and interbank payments. Stellar and interbank payments? Interbank payments on the low end is around $400,000 average. On the high end, it's over $1 million interbank payments. Can you even imagine if that were to take place? What would it do to the price of XLM? You tell me, what would it do to the price of XLM? Don't you ever forget XRP is right there as well. That's their specialty, interbank payments. Then we had Quant. We had Quant recently in a post that they put out there. They've been putting out so many posts. My goodness. I don't think we're going to get to any Quant today. It's just they had too much. We're going to get to Quant and Algorand tomorrow. But Quant was talking about interbank payments. Can you even imagine if any type of interbank payment goes across Quant and they only have 13 million coins in their circulating supply? What would it do to that price? All of those prices would raise. Raise the top. They would raise. This is logical. It's just a matter of time. Tick tock, tick tock. Just a matter of time and strength of heart and spirit for those who can make it that far. Hey, you do what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you what to do. This is not financial advice. I don't want to be. I'm just a humble researcher sharing what I find. That's it. Okay. Here we go. More news from Stellar is exploding. Meridian is the gift that keeps on giving. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, Stellar. Oh, 2023 is going to be delicious. I could feel it in my bones, in my spirit. Full room of anchors from Stellar. Full room of anchors. Stellar's secret sauce with Sendwire, Tempo, and Settle. Now, they're in front of a room full of money makers, telling them the benefits of using Stellar. The possibility of bringing in new clients here, new big money clients. Keep in mind, I'm sure there's quite a few who are watching virtually as well. Oh, believe me, even if it's not available, I don't know if it is available to the regular people of the world. They definitely make accommodations for VIPs. That's a fact. So they have a room full of money makers here. And not only that, the potential of the ones watching virtually makes the percentage of possibility of bringing in new big money clients very, very good. It was especially good that we had Caroline D. Pham of the CFTC there, or CFTC, sorry about that, because that brought in even more eyes, not just now, but later. Those who will watch the videos released later, those who will read the documents later. These are good happenings. These are the seeds that you plant in order to grow the money trees later. The catalyst. It's important. These are the causes right now that we are witnessing so that later we can know the effects and reap the benefits of the effects. Let's continue on here. So, we do have a little bit of Algorand here. I wanted to cover this one. I thought this one was very important. So here we have an article on medium.com by Algorand. It says 6 clever uses of the Algorand blockchain in gaming. Didn't I say recently? So much we have been saying has been coming to pass. Algorand in video games, okay? 6 clever uses of the Algorand blockchain in gaming. The gaming industry has always been on the cutting edge of technology. From early uses of virtual reality and augmented reality, scanning objects in 3D, to controlling on-screen action gestures, it's no surprise then that companies have started integrating blockchain technology for different applications in the gaming space, which is estimated to be worth $120 billion by 2025. The Algorand blockchain is a great match for gaming application. We're going to take all that gaming money. Do you see how Algorand is dominating in every possible way? They've done the most. I'm very happy with them. Okay, they're dominating in the banking industry. They're dominating with the states on a state level, not just federal, but like a state level, not just central banks. But in my humble opinion, I believe that they will have a good swath of the commercial and private banks and such. They're also dominating when it comes to traceability. They're dominating when it comes to music, for sure. You got Napster, you got LimeWire. You have a decentralized music offering on Algorand now. So you have all of that. They're dominating when it comes to NFTs, outright art NFTs. And now they're going to be dominating in gaming. How much more does anyone need to see to know that Algorand is going to do extremely well in the future? Hey, that's all the facts. You can look them up for yourself. And now here they are telling you that they're going to dominate gaming. It says Algorand's speed and near instant transaction finality ensures that someone like an in-game purchase won't disrupt the player experience. Its low cost per transaction, we have one of the lowest, enables participation by a mass consumer base. And the network scalability allows applications to accommodate audiences of scale. Finally, The Algorand blockchain will never fork, ensuring validity and uniqueness of in-game assets will never come into question. Everything is certain with Algorand. In my humble opinion, it is close to an absolute certainty that that price will explode. Just my humble opinion. Not saying that to move you this way or that way or to get you to do something. Whether you buy Algorand or not doesn't matter to me. I'm here for the bank's money. Say it with me. We're here for the bank's money, not your money. The banks move that price, right? But we're going to take all. See, when Ripple said all of the money, they were speaking for all of the bank coins. And it doesn't mean we're going to necessarily move all of the money. It just means we're going to try to get as much of that value as possible. And all of them are doing that. Don't you see? It's a brilliant thing. Very, very good. Now let's continue on here. So this article here is on seekingalpha.com. They've been doing a great job. Check them out. Crypto firm deposits pose heightened liquidity risks for banks because the banks don't have any money. They barely, it's pathetic. My goodness. The liquidity crisis is already here. And here's the problem. They're having a liquidity crisis. They've been given the illusion of liquidity, right? Because, well, they're having to take away the illusion now. That's where the problem comes in. So when they were printing all of this money, putting all this money out there, and not just with the stimulus checks and what the Fed does, but also remember, private banks create money every time they're issuing loans. The people don't know that. And the private banks were just issuing loans like they were going insane at one point. So all of this money was getting created, right? And all of this debt was getting created. And so it gave the illusion of liquidity. But now that the Fed has to raise interest rates, it's been crushing the economies. They're taking that money back. So the illusion is starting to fade away. And therefore, there's going to be problems because they don't have enough money. They have to keep a higher percentage in the reserves. The reserves have to go to the central bank. So now when somebody comes to you for their 200 grand, you can't give them their 200 grand, can you? Oh, you got to wait a couple of days. Right. You banks trying not to really lay into you. I'm telling you now. So they have a liquidity issue. So it's not really the crypto firms that are the problem. It's just the crypto firms have more liquidity than you. So when someone's trying to do a transfer over to you, there may be a problem. But let's read this little tidbit here. Let's see what they have to say. Oh boy, this guy. Federal Reserve Vice Chair of Supervision Michael Barr warned that banks taking in deposits from cryptocurrency firms should come to understand and manage the heightened liquidity risk involved. Yeah, and we should trust Michael Barr. Right. Let's go to another article. I don't have anything to say about the individual. Listen. Yeah, let's just go into another article here. U.S. acting comptroller. So they're all coming out. You can see the vipers coming out of their pits trying to bite crypto once again. That's not going to work. All right. The tides are changing. The times are changing. The whys are rising. The power is shifting in our favor and a new world order will take place, but not like you think, not like you want. No, the good, the meek are rising and we are going to take over. So it won't be what you wanted it to be. I can assure you of that. And so that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say too much. You want to tell entities too much of what you're planning and what you're doing and what's happening, because sometimes they are disillusioned, they're delusioned, and let them be that way. It's better for us. So United States, here's the article here. United States acting comptroller of the currency, Michael Hsu, urged his fellow regulators not to lower their standards when dealing with crypto under the pressure of, quote, being perceived as anti-innovation. But they are anti-innovation. Not only that, Mr. Hsu, you realize your country is being destroyed right now. The United States is sinking badly, doing terribly in every possible way. Do you want to go over it? Okay, your banking system is terrible. Your physical infrastructures are horrible. I can't even believe. Like, have you been in any of these so-called upper neighborhoods? You look at their streets, some of their streets. Yeah, right. Your physical infrastructures are terrible. Your monetary policy is terrible. Your politics are cannibalizing each other and it's weird because your politics are cannibalizing each other while they all seem to be one. That's really, really strange, isn't it? So nothing functions properly. Like what? The West is over. What are you talking about? This is your only chance to survive. Adopt the new system to survive. Let the businesses and the people thrive. Then you survive. That's it. This is your reset. As simple as that. This is the only reset you're ever going to get, or you will be the new Rome. Simple as that. Simple as that. Europe is the same thing. All of the West. This is it. You're slowly going under the water like you're on the Titanic. So, I mean, it's hilarious to me that so many people think that they're not going to be affected by it if they don't implement these new systems. When it will affect people from the top to the bottom. As a matter of fact, it's going to affect you people at the top more than it's ever going to affect the people at the bottom. Having started from his private experience example, Su criticized the rush and fear of missing out syndrome. FOMO, really? You're going to say that when it comes to governmental entities? Fear of missing out? They're doing this to survive. The BRICS nations are already trying, rolling out CBDCs and utilizing crypto. They're going to be backing their currencies with minerals, right? And they will take over if you don't act. That's why your fellow governmental agents and entities are moving so quickly, because the only way to counter that, you can't counter it with the current system. You can't. The only way to counter that is with the new financial system. That's why they reached out and been so desperate to bring Ripple on board. They have, literally, they have Ripple on the Faster Payments Council. Then they have Ripple on the Faster Payments Task Force. That's two different things. Then now they have Ripple assisting with the digital dollar, as well as Hedera via MTech. Do you see how fast they scooped them in? They're trying to incorporate them into everything that they can. Then they have they're getting assistance sort of from Algorand through MIT. Because they know it's now or never for the West to survive. And a lot of people know that. We covered articles recently where it shows even more people are leaving the West. They're fleeing. They're taking their money. They're taking their businesses and they're going elsewhere. And most people are that don't just exclusively move somewhere else. They're going to have a few different places. So they may have one place in the United States, and they may have one place in Latin America. Then they may have one place in Africa or Southeast Asia. You see a lot of people doing that right now. And guess what? They're doing amazing, by the way. Doing great. So people are fleeing because they see that the West is going underwater. It's in your best interest. If you want to have any type of job in the future or something to rule over, and not some devastated, smoldering heap that used to be a world power. If you want to have anything other than that, then you might want to get behind taking some of these preventative measures. But hey, I'm going to survive no matter what. I'm going to do what it takes. I have what it takes, and I'm not blind. And so anyone who is like that is going to make it. They're going to survive. You can go down with the ship if you want to, your legacy ship. Let's continue on here. But the facts are the facts. So we have this article here. It's titled, Custodia Bank founder Caitlin Long has some strong words about the Fed and BNY Mellon. Let's go, Caitlin. Let's hear what you have to say. Custodia Bank founder Caitlin Long had a strong reaction to the news that BNY Mellon has launched a digital custody platform for Ether and Bitcoin holdings. BNY Mellon is the first large United States bank to offer the custody of digital assets and traditional investments on the same platform. The bank will store, so they're doing pretty much what LCX is doing. The bank will store private keys and provide bookkeeping services. Custodia Bank, formerly known as Avanti, filed suit against the Federal Reserve Board of Governors and the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City in June. Custodia Bank claimed that the 19 months the bank had waited by that time for the processing of its application. Look at this. This is how they work. For a master account was an unlawful delay, as the U.S. code specifies a 1-year processing deadline on such applications. They delayed them and delayed them and delayed them. We applied to become a Fed bank member, totally committed to complying with all the requirements of becoming a federally regulated Fed member bank. Long said, but what's fascinating is that the bank regulators and the SEC, pay attention to this corruption right here. See how they're doing them? And the SEC have just been allergic to this whole concept of having banks or broker dealers be involved. Long said, oh, Caitlin's going off. Quote, you will see a filing in that lawsuit pertaining to the announcement this morning because the Federal Reserve filed filings last week talking about the risk to the financial system from crypto. And then today, the Federal Reserve's supervised bank holding company enters crypto. See, they held them back while they got in. This is what we've been talking about. This is what they've been trying to do to XRP and XLM and Algorand, only it didn't work. But this shows you what they do. They held them back while they got in. Let me read it again. Exposed. They've been exposed now. Tell everyone. It says, you will see a filing in that lawsuit pertaining to that announcement this morning because the Federal Reserve filed filings last week talking about the risk to the financial system from crypto. And then today, a Federal Reserve supervised bank holding company enters crypto. We've been waiting for 2.5 years for that. And look at what the Fed actually said last week versus what they did today. Caitlin Long, I applaud you. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. Man, let me see something. I gotta go follow Caitlin Long. I don't know if Caitlin Long is on Twitter. I gotta go follow Caitlin Long on Twitter or something like that. This is a fighter. I like this Caitlin Long. But Fed just was exposed. Thank you, Caitlin Long. Okay, so let's continue on here. Now we have Grayscale jumping into the fight. Yes, yes, yes. Muy lindo, mi gente. Let's scroll down here and see what they're talking about. The largest cryptocurrency asset manager recently described the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Holy smokes! Everybody has a problem with the SEC. Are you seeing what's going on here? They're all ready to fight back now. This is great. Our time is coming. The largest cryptocurrency asset manager recently described the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's rejection of its application to convert Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an exchange-traded fund. Grayscale, which is a subsidiary of crypto giant Digital Currency Group, sued the SEC in late June. I didn't know that. Over the, at least I read it. I don't remember it. If I did read it. June, over the regulator's decision regarding its Bitcoin ETF proposal. The agency cited oft-repeated concerns about fraud and manipulation, as well as lack of investor protection in its rejection. Of course, Grayscale, however, vehemently disagrees with the decision, given that the regulator has already approved a futures-based ETF. It's logical. Nothing that the SEC is doing is logical. I don't know how many more phone calls we can make to have someone do something about this. Something needs to happen. Grayscale's lawyers argue that spot-based and futures-based ETFs face the same risk because they do. Which is why the company believes that the SEC's rejections are capricious and arbitrary. They are. So, we'll keep an eye on this and see how it goes. But I'm glad to have Grayscale in the fight. Apparently, they've been fighting for quite some time, but now they're getting quite vocal. That's the way to do it. Bring the public's attention to these matters because the public has a lot of sway and a lot of power. They will make these people feel the pressure because they want to keep their jobs. So I'm very, very happy to hear that. Very good to see this. So now let's talk about the dollar. Oh my goodness, the brutal, brutal dollar just crushing everything and everyone. And the sad part is that the dollar will probably crash at some point in the next few months. The dollar, here it is. This is from businessstandard.com. US dollar surges to new 24-year high. The dollar climbed to a fresh 24-year peak versus the yen on Wednesday, holding above levels that prompted intervention by Japanese officials last month, while sterling rose after a sharp fall in the previous session as investors pondered the Bank of England's next steps. The pound gained following a drop to a 2-week low versus the dollar and euro late on Tuesday, after the Financial Times reported that the BOE has signaled privately to lenders that it is prepared to prolong its bond purchases. Additional media reports suggested that the UK government could make a U-turn on more elements of its recent mini budget that roiled markets. Data showing U.S. producer prices increased more than expected in September further boosted the dollar against the yen. U.S. producer prices increased again. Oh my goodness. They still don't see it. And you know what's unbelievable is that they admitted recently, we covered this in a video, that there was they agreed to a technical recession, which makes absolutely no sense. We've been in a recession for quite some while. As a matter of fact, they have caused deflation for quite some while. Stagflation had already taken place in the middle of the summer. There was already stagflation. And what we're entering now is deflation. We've been in deflation because of you've seen the mass layoffs. So, but then it takes Cathie Wood to come out, which then is crazy because the people are not getting the message. They're worried about the messenger. Did you get the message? So Cathie Wood came out and screamed about deflation, what I've been talking about since January. Well, January or February, somewhere around there. I've been talking about deflation and putting all types of articles up about deflation. And then what does the legacy system do? And my humble opinion, they are the ones who are doing this. They flooded the internet with a whole heap of articles defaming the character of Cathie Woods and, basically trying to take credibility away from Cathie Woods. My goodness. Of ARK Invest. Just for those of you who don't know, Cathie Woods and ARK Invest, So the producer price index for final demand rebounded 0.4% above the forecast of a 0.2%. In the 12 months through September, PPI increased 8.5% after advancing 8.7% in August. Oh my goodness. This just reaffirmed that the BOJ and Bank of Japan did not defend a particular level, but was addressing volatility. They have to protect themselves. They'd be a fool at this point not to take some sort of action. Not intervening at the old level was tactically smart. It's like not waving a red flag in front of the market. There could be another bout of intervention, but it would have less effect than the first bout. Let's move on to another article. Everyone should be taking precautionary measures to protect themselves, whether you're just a regular citizen or denizen of the world, or you're some elected official. You should be taking precautions to protect your industries, protect your houses, protect your value, protect everything. I'm not trying to lose anything at all. So I protect everything that I can. But in order to do that, you can't be delusional. You must see what is actually there. Just my humble opinion. Let's continue on here. So now let's get on to this debt that I was talking about before. We have an article here from yahoo.com, and it's titled, Nigeria to Explore Debt Restructuring. Listen, the world debt is unbelievable. It can't be paid back. The United States debt is unbelievable, and it will break the United States unless they implement XRP, XLM, Algorand, all of these new systems, these new DLTs, HBAR. Then they have some breathing room. Then they can start to whittle away at things as they are accessing more capital than ever. I've said this before. There's so much money that they're not accessing from the quote unquote underbanked and stuff like that. There's so many people, we'll go over that another time, but it gives them a chance. Traceability as well. There's so much that's being stolen. So many commodities are stolen. So much value is stolen. There's so many things that could be remedied, and it will bring about, theoretically speaking, a boon to the West's economies that they've never seen before, especially when it comes to business. Let the businesses do what it is that they do best. Let them make money, and they will. With the DLTs, there's going to be so much capital access easily and cost cut at the same time. But let's read this a little bit here. Nigeria is considering restructuring its debt and extending the repayment period because nobody can pay the debts. It's not just Nigeria. It's all around the world. Those debts can't be paid. And what happens when the debts can't be paid? So now let's end with this article here. It's about the Fed. This is from Reuters.com. It says Fed officials worried about ending inflation battle prematurely. What? How could that be a bad thing to end inflation prematurely? So there's like, let's read this little tidbit and see what's going on here. Federal Reserve officials agreed they needed to raise interest rates to a more restrictive level. So they need to go higher. As I've been saying for a long time, that what they're doing is not enough. It's not. And then maintain them there for some time, of course, in order to meet their goal of lowering inflation. A readout of last month's policy meeting showed on Wednesday. Of course, this is all logical. This is what I've been saying for so long, but it wouldn't be prematurely ending inflation. So what they're trying to say in technical ways, they don't want too much data out there, because that's what would happen if they raise interest rates the way that they're supposed to. Data will be coming out that's irrefutable that they have caused deflation. Deflation will crush the economies. And even though we're seeing a massive wave of layoffs right now and all types of banking issues also at the same time, but let's concentrate on the layoffs. Job losses, they would be blamed for that. Certain politicians would be blamed for that, and appropriately so. Appropriately so. And that would be very bad, because then the people would know the truth of what happened, why this happened, and who is at the cause of their suffering. Right now, what they're doing, they're blaming it on everyone else. They're saying, look at those people way over there. Yeah, they're the cause. No, they're not. No, they're not. You're the cause. You're the main cause. Factually speaking. So they wouldn't be able to do that anymore. So that's what this is about. It's sort of covering their trail. So the Fed has been exposed so many times. They could change things if they want to. They can always get new leaders. They can elect new people, bring new people in. They could change monetary policy. They could implement the new systems. There are solutions here, and they just need to implement them. But when they do, that brings about the possibility of generational wealth. There's so many different variables involved. You know, regulatory clarity, the ending of the SEC case, mass adoption. You know, so all of these different things, the mass elimination of all the other useless cryptocurrencies that serve no purpose, zombie cryptos and stuff like that, meme coins. All of that value will flood into the bank coins, in my humble opinion. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.